Going into our third year is when I realized that there's no country of origin labeling law for beef or for pork in the US, that most of what we were buying, if not all of what we were buying at the time, and like I said, those early days, was coming from feedlots in Mexico, was coming from South America, was and even though it had a USDA sticker on it, even though it said Product of USA on it, when I realized that, I realized, oh man, I don't want to do that. If we're gonna sell food to people, I'm gonna sell food that I would want to eat myself. I would feed my family.
Why would you not want to eat meat from Mexico or South America, so to say? Is there a reason behind that? Because to me, when I think of that, I'm like, well, wouldn't it be fine to eat meat from South America? While I personally do support like wanting to eat more local and American made and know my farmer, I just wanted to hear your thoughts around that a bit more.
Cattle raised in the U.S. is the best cattle in the world,
Hmm.
and we have the highest ethical standards uh, all the way through the process. And
Can you dive into like what is ethical? Because I think most of our listeners might not even know like what's even going on in the meat industry. Like, is there unethical practices? I've seen some crazy things on social media where like I've seen a truckload of candy being poured into being fed to the animals, and I'm like,
What?
this is messed up. Like, what in
Wow.
the world? Like,
yeah,
why would they
yeah.
be, feeding complete crap, for lack of a better term, to these animals and knowing
Yep.
that we could potentially be eating that? Like, let's dive into like what's the behind the scenes stuff that you've discovered that
Yeah,
isn't like really well known
yeah,
information.
the things like that, what you just said, and
Is that true?
cramming.
Because I was like, is this just
Abs-
like a random video that I'm happen to stumble across, or is that true? Like, is it really true that they're feeding like Skittles to cows at times?
None that we source. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, most, if not all, of those videos like that aren't happening in the United States.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And that's what those videos don't tell you, though. They don't,
Oh,
like, and there's a handful of different documentaries on Netflix, against eating meat, against raising animals for consumption, and they show these, like, they'll
extreme
show these
cases.
extreme cases of these feedlots of, the animals just getting crammed in cages and beaten and tortured. Almost all of those videos are happening in other countries where they don't have the same standards of care and practices
Yeah.
that the U.S. has.
Okay.
So that's for that reason. And fun fact, in November of last year, just 2024, we can't even import beef from Mexico right now because of a parasitic bug that is running through the cattle, um,
Whoa.
Yeesh.
in Mexico. So
Mm.
again, it's things like that, and thankfully we were ahead of the curve, because I think it was in 2020 when I made the decision that we're only going to source from the U.S. We're not going to source anything from imported from, whether it's Mexico or South America, or a ton comes from New Zealand as well. And again, my issue is the consumer should know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You have the right to know what you're putting in your body. And the way the law sits right now, it can come from all the way across the world. And as long as it gets repackaged in the US, they put an American flag sticker on it and call it Product USA. So the consumer just thinks, oh, this is, I'm
Yep.
buying meat at the grocery store in Texas. It probably came from Texas. It couldn't be further from the truth.